Hello folks, Steve here with some hot news that didn't make it into the podcast episode. We are very, very happy to announce that we have a new sponsor, eToys World. And that means we have a juicy discount for you, our dear listener. So if you go to www.etoysworld.co.uk/discount/PHC10, and that's capital P, capital H, and capital C, you can get a discount of your first order of 10%. And it's free shipping over 50 quid. So go over to eToys World and see what they've got. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Polyhedron Collider Cast, episode 183. I'm Steve Tudor.
Hi, I'm Andy Lewis.
And I'm Rory Summers. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
What?
Man down.
Man down. It's only a flesh wound.
He has just sent us a message on WhatsApp showing him being in some posh bar.
Oh.
I know. It's a poor excuse, really. He seems to be have defected rather than us three hard-working gentlemen here flying the flag.
Yeah.
And he's off gallivanting in a pub somewhere. I think that's very unprofessional of him.
We had that really long, hard weekend of playing board games at a board game convention. And here he is, just at the pub.
I know. It's very tiring sitting on your arse for 4 days, I'll tell you.
It's bizarre how much my legs hurt after all that, actually.
I think it's because we were going into the town for lunch, into Harrogate itself.
Yes.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, folks, we're talking about Airecon. We've just come back from Airecon in Harrogate, and the convention centre is kind of at the bottom of the hill, and town's up a hill, and our hotel was up a hill. And although it wasn't very far away, I agree with Rory, my legs are killing me.
Yeah, my knees were sore as well.
I don't know why.
Because we're old and decrepit, Steve.
Oh,
That'll be it, actually. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Yep. You see, you passed 35. You didn't get the memo that says you are now going to suffer intermittent functionality for the rest of your life.
Sounds about right, yeah.
With no explanation, no reason. I mean, sometimes I get backache and stuff for having the sheer
please,
goal of going
Andy, I'm
to
just going to
bed.
stop you there. Can we just not start talking about what your body can and can't do anymore?
I was just talking about my back. I'm not going to talk about function or anything like that.
No, we don't want to know about your functions. Thank you very much.
No, I don't even want to know about my functions. Let's move swiftly on.
So it was my first Airecon. And I was.
How did you find it, sir?
Do you know what? It met my expectations. I think, having listened to you chaps talk about it so often over the last few years, I had a really good idea of what I was in for. And I'm glad I only took 3 games. I played 2 of those 3 games. I played some other games. I chatted to lots of people. I saw loads of people playing loads and loads of games. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'd love to go back again for a future one.
That is good to hear.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that's pretty much what happens every year. But, yeah, it's when you say it met my expectations. When we describe that as about a game, it doesn't usually sound so positive.
No, but that's it. It is exactly what I thought it was going to be. And I think I had that expectation. Just big halls, rows and rows and rows of tables that each table, held 16 people per side, something silly like that.
Yeah.
And you were cheek to cheek playing board games with people.
And he isn't talking about faces.
No, I'm not. But it was just that lovely, friendly atmosphere. There was those times where we just sat playing a game and someone comes and sits next to you and you look over and they go, oh, that's a cracking game. Oh, yes, I know. We've just played it and we've gone and bought a copy. And you'd have that little chin wag. And that's lovely, that camaraderie from board gamers. So, no, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yes, this is why I go to many, many cons, because you do have that in all of them. It's all basically the same thing, just in a slightly different layout. But it is good. It's a good community. It's a nice place to meet and socialise with other gaming humans, which is always nice.
We got to see a lot of listeners as well, which was quite cool. A lot of people just randomly would just I was at one point going back to the car in the hotel to put something in the boot, and this random guy walked past me and went, "Love the podcast."
What?
And he was off. Oh, thank you. And I'm going to shout out one person, Paul, who contacted us on Blue Sky, who actually posted and said he wished he'd said hello because he was too shy. Paul, don't be too shy. come say hello next time.
Seriously. We're always friendly. I'd like to say thank you to Conrad, because he interrupted our game of Speakeasy, I think, wasn't it? Because Steve and I were there. Because I saw Conrad last year, and he blamed me for him buying a game, possibly Speakeasy, actually, I can't remember. But he went out and bought a game, came over, said thank you very much for all the help in the chat last year. This was brilliant. And it's, oh my God, it's Steve! Pointed across the table. There you go. I said, Rose, is anyone else? I said, Rose around somewhere, but I don't know if he found you or not. But yeah, that was always nice to see Conrad. He's a very nice guy, very friendly, very complimentary about us on our hard work doing this podcast every 3 weeks, because it's such a chore.
What was interesting, I did see on the Discord channel, somebody put on, I'm going to have to find this so I've got the right words.
No, this.
Somebody put on, well, I basically said they could find me because they heard me shout across the hall, "You absolute bastards!"
That weirdly doesn't narrow down the games we played.
No, it doesn't. I don't know how many people saw Rory hulk out and almost flip the table at one point.
That was one of the funniest things I've seen for quite some time, and that is a game we'll be discussing later, so no spoilers, but he's put this 6-turn master plan into operation and gets to the end of it and realises it's the wrong action at the end, and, well, Bruce Banner would be proud, is all we're going to say.
I was a little bit frustrated.
I thought you'd have to go for a walk to cool down.
That was an incredible sight.
I can't really do that in your kitchen, Steve, but it does. I do often feel like that, to be honest, when we play games. I'm a very emotional man. What can I say?
Well, I can also say we savoured some of the other delights of Harrogate. So me and Rory went into town a little bit just to get some food. We basically saw the inside of M&S, and that's about it, didn't we? We walked past Betty's tea rooms, but didn't go in. But I do have to say, because I think you missed out on this, Andy, Amanda came with us, but she didn't come to Airecon. She stayed in the hotel and she got relatives at nearby. So my wife, by the way, came along. So I had to take her out for a meal on Saturday night. And we had the dog, and Rory gladly looked after the dog for us in the hotel, which is very good of him.
Easy. Good
we
dog.
went to a Yorkshire tapas restaurant.
Now this sounds banging.
Now,
Unhealthy, but banging.
The fact that you've used the word banging is brilliant, actually.
so, on the menu, right, it's a tapas, and it does have traditional Spanish tapas things for your small plates and your patatas bravas and your something bongy, your little prawns and that. All well and good. But for the larger plates, it had Yorkshire pudding with a roast dinner, mini roast dinner, Yorkshire pudding wraps, curries, Jamaican jerked ribs, and all other delights.
Good grief.
Oh, I must say, it was absolutely delicious.
Wow.
But
The
the
highlight.
ambience was a bit weird. Right, this place was 2 or 3 doors down from Betty's. You know, like Betty's on kind of on a corner. So like one corner is like the high street, and then one goes down the hill away from the high street. It was like 2 to 4 doors down there, and it was above a bar. And the bar, they called it the Saturday Shakedown or something, the waitress did, but they were playing reggae music in the bar. They were playing reggae music so loud, my cutlery was bouncing from the bass. I've even got a video of my knife and fork, like,
You'll have to put
on
on
the table.
Discord.
Yeah. It was a very surreal experience.
It's definitely weirder than my experience in the Cattleman's, which we went to on Thursday night before you two got here. The Newport Pagnell group was kind enough to invite myself and Delora there, and there was 20 of us that descended on this steakhouse. Those poor people. Because by the time we turned up, some of us had had a few jars. The Newport Pagnell people are not shy when it comes to the beer either. So there's about 8 of us who were, well, chatty, let's put it that way. But the steak was incredible. I am definitely going back there again. 20-ounce rump, that was good. So yes, I can strongly recommend Cattleman's if you like your beef.
Duly noted for next year.
Definitely.
Roll on
It was
next
very highly
Airecon.
rated.
Was it Airecon? Will be Airecon 12 next year, I suppose, won't it?
Yes.
Of course, it's 12, blimey.
I know.
I think it was 10 last year. if I remember the
think you're right.
logo,
I think you're
because
right,
the logo
yeah.
changed. They did a special logo for the 10th year.
Yes, that's right. Because I've been going to at least 10 of them now. Or at least I've tried to get to at least 10 of them. I might have failed 7 years ago with an incident. But
I remember
not dwell on that.
When you reduced the size of your board game collection.
It was the bonnet.
Was it bonnet? Was it?
Yes,
I
in the
thought it was
boot I had
boot.
all the equipment because we were supposed to be running the podcast and I had all the recording kit with me. I didn't
Oh, yeah.
turn up, so it couldn't happen, which was a problem. But never mind. That was a long time ago. That was 7 years ago that happened.
Was it?
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
7 years. At least 7 years. It might be 8. In fact, I was talking to somebody about that. They said, didn't you have an accident one year? Shut up. But we tried to work out when it was because they were going to come and watch us, but they couldn't do it. So, yeah, because it started in Bradford Town,
Leeds.
Church Hall, Leeds. I said it was Leeds Church Hall, and someone said no, it was Bradford. I'm like, I swear it was Leeds.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Leeds because we
I
went
thought
along.
it was
Remember?
Leeds because you took me.
Yeah.
That was the first one I went to, and that must have been 2016. Because I think that was your second, if you remember.
No,
rightly.
that was all our first ones. It was me.
Was
and
it?
John.
I'd assumed
Yeah.
you'd gone to the first one. Okay.
No, the first one was a private event.
Ah,
Yeah,
yes, it was because it was called Airecon because it's the River Aire, the Aire Valley, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's AIRE rather than
Yes.
AIR. Yes. And then the year after they moved into the other end of the convention centre at the sort of Crown Plaza end, and they were there for a few years, and then it got bigger again. So we had to be moved into the Industrial Metal Club that we're currently in now. So
We also got to see loads of other people that weren't just there for gaming because there were lots of exhibitors there. So we saw old Flav with the Hachette stand. We saw Zatu Trade were there.
Yep.
We had a good old chat with Arcadia Tables as well.
Yep.
So it's a new
Yes.
gaming table company. And also we rocked up to the old Tooth and Coats. We're doing the paint and take again.
yep, yeah, they've
Showing
done
off
that now
some
for
of their
about
paints.
2 or 3 years. That's really
Yeah.
popular.
I think it's I think it's their third year there now. Yeah. Yeah. So, all good to say hello to them. But I think most importantly, we have to say we played some games.
We did.
Which is actually quite a rare thing at a gaming thing because the days seem to disappear. I mean, Rory, I think, has got the best percentage of games played from versus taken of anybody I know. Because usually people will take 10 games and, say, no, I'm not going to take as many games this year, and then takes loads like I did this year and played one of the 10 or 12 games I took, which is a poor ratio.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with my 66%.
It's a good ratio.
Very
mate.
good ratio. So, Mr. Summers, out of those 66% of games, which one would you like to talk about today with us?
Well, since this episode although it's not sponsored by Kienda anymore, this episode is brought to you by the letter S, like a Sesame Street episode.
Right.
Oh, right. No, we're not talking about that one. We are going to be talking about Stupor Mundi. Is one of the first games we're going to talk about. Stupor
That's
Mundi.
what you get at the morning after the Sunday night on the beer.
Rory didn't even get that one.
No, I'm not going to entertain it.
It's a highbrow joke, that's why.
So, can I click Andy is wrong on that one now?
No, you can't.
A highbrow joke.
No, shit jokes do not make right or wrong. Just
Exactly.
shit jokes.
If anything,
You're
to
the
make
shit-
you wrong for not getting it. Anyway, Stupor Mundi, Rory.
Stupor Mundi from Pegasus Spiel. This is a Nestori Mangon game that I picked up at the Expo last year, and I was very excited to be picking this up, and I've played it a couple of times now. This is a rather clever little... It's kind of got a little bit of deck building. It's got a little bit of card programming, action planning, but at the centre of this, you're building this wonderful little castle. So the idea is you've got this deck of cards, a hand of cards, and you're going to place a card either face up, face down. Face up, you do the action on the card, or face down, depending on which action slot it goes into. You've got these two little cross spears on the back of the card. You'll do one of the actions that it's pointing to. And ultimately what you're trying to do is build your castle. You need to get resources to be able to build the walls, the towers, or the keep itself. And you're trying to get new cards that make it better to do that, or you're trying to recruit allies because you're in service, kind of, to Stupor Mundi, King Frederick II of the Holy Roman Empire. Sorry, and it was he's got this big central castle in the middle of the board, in this middle of this board. And what you're trying to do, you're trying to build castles for him and yourself. And you need to do it in either opposition to him or in conjunction with him. So every now and then when you place one of your pieces, build one of your pieces of your castle, you'll trigger these edicts which allow you to manipulate King Frederick's castle. You'll either build bits of it or you'll demolish bits of it. And then you've got these little ally tiles, which are either loyalists or independents. And they're going to tell you you're going to score points if you are better than Frederick or if Frederick has met this certain criteria. And these ratchet up every single round. And this game goes like the clappers. We were shocked multiple times. Oh crap, it's me again already. Because all you're doing, it's a really simple process. You're going to move your little ship, maybe, play a card, get some resources, put a tower down. That's it. Andy, your go. And you're never ready for it. Although nothing ever changes terribly much on that central board, you've never really got enough time to just catch up, and you've got to plan so far ahead, which is where I may have gone wrong in this game. Because you've only potentially got... Because my build action sits between two card places, I've only ever got 2 opportunities to take the build action by these 2 cards, these arrows pointing into it. So if I get it wrong or play the wrong card in the wrong place, it completely scuppers your turn. I find this game to be really mean. Resources are really tight until they're not, in which case they're in an abundance and then you've got not enough actions. There's this wonderful kind of collusion with your opponents. As somebody starts to pip ahead and get better, you need to start teaming up to drag them down. It's a game of dick moves, this is. And I find it rules light, but really strategically really deep.
Yes, I would agree. And that is a game that we have universally, or the type of game that we have universally liked historically. Rules light, lots of thinks, crunchy, and if it's got a dick move in, so much the better.
It is amazingly straightforward. I mean, there's lots to manipulate in there.
Yeah.
But it is like, move your boat, choose an action. And as you said, most actions are going to be gain a resource.
Yeah.
Gain a gold. Spend your gold to gain more resources. Or sell your resource to get more gold. And then build or take one of these allies. There's also an upgrade track, which is perhaps the most complicated thing in the entire game, is the upgrade track.
Yeah.
And it's just a track, which you get an upgrade in, and they're not cumulative, which is the only thing that's a bit unintuitive about the entire game, I think, in which the upgrade track, you only have the upgrade of the space you're on, not the previous ones you've passed. But when I say that's the most complicated thing, it's basically you get a special ability based on where your little manny is on that board. Yeah. But yeah, it's great because what you haven't described as well, it's not just about King Frederick's castle. You've also got his grain stores, his stone stores, and his bank.
Money, yeah, of course.
And how many allies he's got are the other things. So there's actually, like, some of the victory points can be get based on number of towers in the castle, some based on number of walls in the castle, some based on the keep, some is based on the overall size of the castle. There's so many things that which you can score on. Means you've got to keep a kind of an eye on everything. And as you've found or described really when you play, if you just keep an eye on what you're doing, someone else will get away with it. So you've got to be interactive. You've got to see what everyone else is doing and keep an eye on them.
And it's got that wonderful thing with the edicts, because you're only ever going to pick from one of 3 edicts, which will allow you to manipulate King Frederick's castle. But you can see what the next 3 edicts are going to be. So which one are you? And when you use an edict and discard it, you choose which one is going to come and replace it. So we saw that, Steve wanted to have more towers than Frederick. So Steve did this fantastic job of manipulating this edict flow so that Andy and I, even when we did get to choose one, there were no flipping towers on there. We didn't have the option to build Frederick any towers to pull Steve back. It was it's really clever, and that I think you nail on the head there. It's a game that's about manipulation.
Yeah. I should also say this is on Board Game Arena, and it's a really good implementation of Board Game Arena.
Yeah,
it works really well. Yeah, I mean, as you said earlier, the turns are quick. Move your ship, take an action. That's it. I mean, but the thinking time is what slows this game down. But still doesn't actually slow it down massively, because as you said, if you've got a little bit of a plan ahead, right, I'm going to build some towers because I've got that edict and the rounds coming up, you kind of know what your next couple of actions are going to be. so you can kind of whiz through at some points and do things pretty quickly.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, it took me, the first time I played it, this time, and it took me about half the game to actually realise, oh shit, and then it all kind of clicked together. Obviously, by which time it's too late. But you're right. It's like I've got to think ahead. Think, oh, it's my turn. Oh, stone. You carry on, and you're trying to kick the can a little bit further down the road to give yourself a bit more thinking time. You too, go away. Let me think. But it is so simple, and yet so many moving parts to look after and manage. It's very, very, very clever. I really enjoyed it.
One of the things I love about this game the most is when a player starts getting ahead, you yourself, you've got direct power to pull them back. It's not necessarily about you catching up to narrow that gap. You've got a way to really rein them in and stop them scoring more points. And I really like that as a mechanic, that often, we'll play other board games and Steve will just start racing ahead. And my only opportunity is to just play catch up. This one, it's not just catch up. I'm doing that, but I'm also trying to diminish Steve's points.
Yeah,
and to have that control is really cool.
Yeah, it's good. No, I absolutely agree. I mean, there's a fair few games that are guilty of the runaway process, and some of them do give you a rubber band effect as part of the rules, but there's a lot of them that don't. But yeah, having the opportunity, even if we manage to massively fail at implementing it, at least we had the opportunity to rein him in a little bit, and that's clever.
It was all you, though, Andy.
I freely admit that, yes, I did have the opportunity to help, and I took the selfish route. I'm not going to lie. I can either
stop Steve scoring 3 points, or I can get one more point than Rory. Which one do you think Andy did?
Well, I'd freely admitted that, look, I'm not going to come first, so if I'm coming last. Unfortunately, at the end of the game, Rory managed to pit me by 1 point because of the bloody resources he had at the end.
I had so much money. Yeah, it was good.
Oh, well. But it was a lot of fun.
I should also say this game looks really good as well, because not only is it very well graphic designed, with beautiful artwork throughout, it's got a good table presence because you are building castles.
Yeah.
You have wooden pieces that make these castles. So you have these 3D elements that kind of build up together and show you exactly where everything is.
It's very visually impressive. Yes.
I will point out that the edition we played is by Pegasus Spiel, and that's the standard edition. Quind Games have actually got a deluxe version of this.
Really?
Yeah, really? It's a lot more expensive, but there is a deluxe version of this, which is surprising because this edition looks really good.
Yeah. Ooh, it's called the Master Print Edition.
Yeah.
Hello.
Ooh.
See, I was looking at Quind Games a little while ago because they do quite a lot of heavy games. And I recently acquired, I say recently, it's probably about 2 years ago now, Carson City, sort of big box edition. They did a, I think it was a Kickstarter edition they did, and I've got that. I've had it sat on the shelf for ages, and I've still not played it. But that looks nice. And obviously I've got Agra, so I've kind of half vowed to myself I'll probably get the entire Quind Games collection, because they do look nice on the shelf. And if it's one of those things, then there's another incentive for me. As if I need one.
You are such a sucker for marketing, aren't you?
I really am, yes, I know. I know.
So yeah, Stupor Mundi, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely love that game. I mean, I wish we played it earlier now because it was a 2025 game, and I do wonder whether we would have mentioned it our best of the year if we played it earlier.
It's new to us this year, so it can still qualify at the end of the year. Let's see what happens.
I played it last year, but yeah, it's new to you.
Oh, well,
guys,
you've just ruined it for everyone, haven't you, Rory?
I don't know, Rory.
Sorry for playing a game I really wanted
being
to.
Efficient.
Right, I'm going to completely switch tack and go for a completely different game, right? Which is Stationfall by Iron Game Design and Matt Eklund, right? Because this is as far away from Stupor Mundi as you could possibly be. And I played this on the Friday night with the Newport Pagnell guys and Andy. I know you've played this before, haven't you, Andy?
I have played it several times before.
You've played it several times. Simply put, this game is chaos wrapped up inside a spaceship, a falling space station. It's called Stationfall because it's about a space station falling to Earth. Funny that. And there is a bunch of people on that station who generally want to survive. Say generally, but they'll have secret objectives they want to do now they realise that the station is falling and they're all going to meet their imminent demise. This could be, for instance, a character wants to go get the alien artifact and get it off the planet, off the ship. One person may want to see what's in the Project X folder because it's been very curious and they've wanted to know for some time. Somebody may want to just murder everyone because, I don't know, they stole his crisps from the canteen. The really cool thing about this game is that you have a secret objective and you have your secret character. So rewind just a little bit, that kind of feel of these objectives feels very much like the part of Nemesis.
Yeah.
When everyone's got their own objective. The difference here is you do not directly control your character. Instead, your character is available to everyone. You know your character you're trying to be, but you're trying to keep that hidden because everyone can influence characters. So if you want to use a character to move, you pay influence and you get them to do something. And all they can do is 2 actions, which is if Sid was here and he complained about how in Nemesis it's difficult to get across the station, in Stationfall it's ridiculously difficult to get across the station. In fact, sometimes it's easier to put a helmet on and jump out the space station and come back in the other end.
It is.
In some places. So you've also got, it's quite a complicated teach, not because the rules are difficult, because basically the only 2 actions in the game: move and take the action of the location you're in. That's basically it. Oh, you can shoot people. That's the other one, sorry. Other than that, there's not much else you can do. But the problem is, almost every single location on the space station has different rules. Like how you get into Project X, how you can access the CCTV, you can turn the cameras on, you can turn the cameras off, you can set the station to alert, you can set and send a signal to Earth, all this kind of thing. Oh, like the rules about how escape pods work, I think confused everyone until we went through one at a time and, oh, that's how they work. Right, okay. What this resulted in, bear in mind this was a 6-player game, I think it can go to 8?
9
players.
people. Bedlam.
Is utter chaos. It's fun, but it's utter chaos. There's an element of you're always trying to outsmart your opponents and stop them from guessing, but it does usually mean that somebody takes out control of a character you desperately wanted to do something and puts them at the complete opposite end of the ship. And there was a point when I realised I needed to get off the ship, and I could do it. I could just about do it. If no one else took any actions with that character, I could do it. They moved one step away, and I went, unless someone is feeling magnanimous and brings me aboard as well, I'm not getting on the escape pod before we blow up.
No one was feeling magnanimous.
You don't actually control your own character.
Nope.
You can, but not directly, no. So there's basically a bunch of characters, and there's usually about 12 or so running around, and they all have different abilities and objectives and stuff, as Steve said. The idea is that essentially there's a conspiracy.
Right.
And you're the kind of a puppet master of a conspiracy, and everybody's in that kind of... They're all, masters of their own conspiracy. And the idea is that you influence a person to do a thing for you as part of that conspiracy. That's the idea behind it.
Oh, okay.
So you could get the section chief to go and open a door and look at some compromising information. The next person might get, the security bot to go into a room and shoot the criminal. The next person might... all of these things, whilst kind of independent actions, all add up to this glorious chaotic whole because someone might do something that you can take advantage of.
Yeah.
Because there is a limit to the number of people you are ultimately allowed to influence, and each character has a limit, and you lose points if you go beyond that limit. You're allowed to do it, but there's consequences. But ultimately, you can... you'll influence someone who might be near something that you want to do. It's very hard to explain without having played the game.
I use an example. So you go secure the second character, which generally you want the second character to just survive.
Yeah.
You get victory points if they survive. So I had one character, and his special his special objective was to get the alien artifact off the ship. But he doesn't have to get the artifact off the ship. His objective is just the artifact has to get off the ship.
Yeah.
So even though my character is the counsellor, I was using the mechanic to move the alien artifact around.
Okay.
Because the mechanic was the one who started next to the alien artifact. So I spend some of my influence I can spend on the mechanic to pick up the alien artifact and start wandering around the space station. The problem is, and this is where it all falls apart, someone else might have the mechanic as their secret objective character and want him to do something completely different.
Right.
So, and that's exactly what happened, because that alien artifact ended up going in the complete opposite direction to what I wanted it to.
And there are some characters who get victory points for ending up with specific items, like the Astro Chimp basically is just like a klepto and just tries to pick up every a suitcase, alien artifact and everything like that. So doing that is obviously very obvious. So what you're trying to do is disguise that. But at some point during the game, you are allowed to reveal yourself, to say, hey, everybody, I am this person. Now, you tend not to want to do that early on for obvious reasons. But there are special abilities that you get, or it will like negate one of your negative abilities or something like that, if you do reveal yourself. So there are advantages to doing it. I mean, sometimes it's easy to work out who's doing what. Because we worked out, I think it was Dave and Ian, the Newport Pagnell guys. It was very obvious who they were because of what they were doing and how they were doing it. But for the rest of us, I think we managed to conceal our identities. Not that it mattered. The station self-destructed because some dick decided to purge the antimatter from the system and gave us 3 more turns of existence before the whole shit vaporised in a cloud of fire. But it's fun. It does mean actually, yeah, the antimatter bit was quite fun because that's in a little room all on its own, as is Project X. So Project X is like this sort of secret government project, almost certainly bad and destructive, that's locked away in a vault. But some dick can always go in, unlock the vault and release it. But nobody knows what it is until it is released because there's a big deck of cards and you choose one of them. It could be some grey ooze, it could be some floating drones that go around shooting everybody. It's great fun. And you can take the antimatter pod from the reactor and just Benny Hill it around the station. So as soon as you release it from its containment, some idiot's just running around with this bomb, basically. So you can either get it off the ship, in which case, obviously, it detonates in outer space. And there's a box on the board that says outer space, because outer space is very small. Or you're running around with this unstable lump, at which point, obviously, it'll detonate at some point. But the possibilities and combinations of hilarity in this game are endless. But I have to say, the Newport guys were quite aggressive when it came to shooty and chaos. The other group I play here in Bewdley are somewhat more sedate. I mean, still, you still end up with the same kind of effects, but there was a lot less murder.
So can I ask a question? Looking at this on Board Game Geek, I see that its weight is like 3.96. But the way you guys are talking about it, it sounds more chaotic than it does heavy.
Yeah, I think when you say heavy, I think, as I said earlier, you've got 2 actions. Move, possibly shoot or smack someone with a wrench.
Yeah.
Lift it, pick up an item, drop up an item, use the action of the area. And what the heaviness of this game is how all those areas interconnect and work and how all the secret objectives work. There's a bit of thinking to do. It depends how you want to play it. You can play this very seriously and trying to work out exactly what everyone's doing and undermine them, or you can just let chaos take the reins, which I think is going to happen on higher player count games anyway, because things are going to go to pot. So it's not straightforward. It does take quite a bit of time to play. It's a few hours.
Yeah, it's a long
It's not
game.
a quick game. But I'd like to play it with less people. I think we could play it with 6, and I felt that was, I don't want to say too much, but I'm intrigued to what it's like with slightly smaller player count.
We play with 10. We tend to play with 4 or 5, and that seems to be a bit better. I'd say 4 is probably the optimal. Maybe 5, but I'd say 4 is better. You also get more you get more turns as a person, as a player, when there are more players as well. So you actually feel like you're influencing the game a little more than with fewer players. So it does feel like there's a bit more, I'd say, grip on reality, but that's clearly not the case. But,
the Board Game Geek poll does suggest that 4 or 5 players is best.
Yeah.
So there we go. That makes sense. So yeah, that's Stationfall. While we're talking about Stationfall, I'm going to take this moment to also talk about another game which is coming to Kickstarter. I believe it will be on Kickstarter by the time this podcast comes out, because I believe it's launching on 23rd of March, which is Escape from Mars from Richard Davis and Dark Frontier Games. Now, we played this last year.
We did.
And we gave a little bit of a review of it before Expo. But we can't really give a review of it anymore because Richard's now part of our Monday gaming group. But we are going to give him a shout out because if you liked Stationfall, this is in a similar vein. It's escape from Mars, but there's hidden traitors, but it's possible to play this as a single player game with a hidden traitor because it's got a really cool hidden traitor system.
It's a co-op hidden traitor game. And it's really clever. We really enjoyed
intrigued.
It. Yeah,
but it's got a very much a cooperative style game in which aliens can attack. You've got to get the escape pod to land at the right time, and you get into the escape ship.
You've got to make sure there's oxygen and power, and
yeah. If you like Nemesis and Stationfall, give this a look because it's in the similar vein.
Ooh.
And then on top of that, it's got this really cool the puzzle aspect of trying to work out who the traitor is. And the fact that you're all doing this together. And it might be you, and you genuinely have no idea if you are the hidden traitor. It's really clever.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. That sounds like there's elements of a game called Lifeform, which I got years and years and years ago. I played it at Expo and backed it on Kickstarter. I still haven't played my copy, to nobody's surprise, which has a similar idea. It's basically Alien, the board game, more than Nemesis, because there's lots of you. One of you's playing the intruder, the alien, and everyone else is playing as crew, and you're basically trying to get off the ship. But the idea is you're running around gathering resources, loading up the escape pod, and pressing go before the Gribbly can get you.
That's the Hall or Nothing game, isn't it? That's Tristan Hall's game.
Yes. Yeah. But it's anyway. Yeah, that's Lifeform. That's like 10 years old. But it's elements of that, I think, by the sounds of it, which I really like. Grab resources, load up thing. Nobody knows who the bad guy is. I like that idea. You don't even know if you're the bad guy.
Yeah,
that's cool.
You could be the bad guy. Yeah, it's pretty. And the way it does it is this is really clever logic puzzle to work it out.
Yeah,
it is really clever.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll put a link to the Kickstarter in the show notes, and we'll give it a nod on the Discord server when it launches. But yeah, Escape from Mars from Dark Frontier Games. Check it out.
Sir, yes, sir.
Should we talk about something again completely different to the previous game?
Let's.
Should we talk about running some barrels of booze around 1920s New York?
Let's do that. This is, as nobody will be surprised by this, Vital Lacerda, one of my favourite designers. This is Speakeasy. It's came out technically last year, but nobody in the UK got it until this year, so I'm counting it as this year's game. And yeah, Steve's right. This is set in the 1920s in
it's lower New York, isn't it? It's not all of
Manhattan.
New York because it's Manhattan.
Manhattan Island, set in Manhattan Island in the 20s in prohibition era. That's the word I'm looking for. Well done, brain. And the idea is that, this is all the mob territory, all of the kind of Al Capone, Godfather kind of environment where the mob is running illegal gin joints and underground boozers, which are called speakeasies. And you're trying to create, buy, steal booze to sell in these establishments under the watchful eye of the New York Constabulary, trying to avoid their being arrested, whilst all the time making friends with, avoiding and defending yourself from the mob and various elements of it, and also controlling the parts of Manhattan where your stuff is. So there's a lot going on in this game. But broadly speaking, buy booze or create booze, move booze to places where you can sell them, sell the booze for money, control the areas, defend yourself from invasion, do that 11 times, job done, win game. Simple as that.
Do that 11 times. I mean, you can't go into much more detail because it's a Vital Lacerda game. If you try, if we had actually explained how to play this game, well, that would be the podcast.
It took me 45 minutes to teach you guys,
Yeah,
something
about that,
like
yeah.
that. It's a complex. There's a lot going on, but I think I was thinking about this actually early today, knowing obviously we were podcasting tonight. Thinking about how I'm going to describe this game, and I think other than what I've just said, I would say that this is probably one of Vital's most cohesive games, in the sense that all of the elements, whilst slightly disparate, they all do feed in. They all feel like they should be there, and they all have a significant impact on the game. Because if you remember, we talked about Weather Machine. There's that sort of workshop bit that we felt was a bit tacked on. This doesn't feel like it has any of that.
I think one of the things where this is perhaps easier to get your head round is it's more thematic than a lot of these other heavy Euros.
Very true. Yeah, the theme in this is very strong.
Because essentially you are doing more or less two things in this game, which is the buying and making your /buying/stealing booze and selling it, which gets you money. And then the bit, which I actually think is more of the game, is like an area control. You're trying to control areas of Manhattan, have the biggest, where casino there. You've got ranks. You've got the distillery, you've got a speakeasy, you've got something which I can't remember the name of,
and then there's
nightclub,
casino.
and then casino. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got that area control element of you gain points based on what's the best building in that area. But where this goes beyond that is that you're not just building these things; you have to protect them against the mob. So you have to protect them against the police, which means it's simple to protect them against the police, really. You just have to put a chap on the door who makes sure the police are looking the other way. But protecting against the mob involves hiring goons, building strength, and bribing other mobsters to help you fight off in a particular area. And all those things, once you understand how they work mechanically, you're kind of like, well, it makes sense now. I think some aspects of the rules sometimes... It's got that board game overhead, and then the Lacerda overhead on top of that, which means sometimes it takes a while for your brain to go, what? Why does that action do that? Why does that action do that? Why do I need this card? Why am I slotting cards in here for this number? But I must admit, I think it was about halfway through the game, and I didn't have to ask any more rules questions.
Yeah, you seem to pick it up mechanically. You just got it, and then the strategy just broke you. But that's understandable because it is a complicated game. I mean, I will admit, it took Laura and I 2 or 3 plays to get our heads around it properly, to see how all the elements sort of fit together. It's a hard game, and I think you did very well for your first playthrough.
It's really interesting. There's a couple of, just scratching a couple of the interesting aspects of this game. You've got 2 stores of money.
Yeah.
Your liquid money, which is your cash, and your money that's in the safe. And you can spend the money in the safe, and at the end of the game, your score is your money. So you don't know how anyone's doing until the end of the game, because most of the money is in the safe, so you don't know how much money people have got. You've got an idea of how much they put in there, but you don't know how much they've actually got. You can spend your cash in hand as cash, but if you take money out of the safe, you basically lose half of it.
It's
So you have to pay double for everything, because you've got to launder the money.
I really like the sound of that. That sounds wicked.
Which adds this extra layer of like, well, I've got enough money to buy a casino, which will help me in the long term, but it's not going to cost me 17. It's going to cost me 34 to build a casino.
And they're effectively your victory point, so it's a big decision.
Yeah. And then when that's like, that's a good chunk of victory points. That is. That's 10 to 20% on a good game. That is.
It is.
It's really clever, that aspect of it. The way the way the turns work, that's took me by surprise. So Andy did warn you, you've got 11 turns. That's it, 11 actions. Okay, you need to chain your actions. So it's unlike Stupor Mundi, which was just basically, do one thing and that's it. This has got the traditional Euro thing of do the thing to kick off the thing, to do the thing to kick off the thing, to do the thing, where you can chain actions by doing certain actions which allow you to spend tokens, which will give you another action, which will give you tokens to do another action, that kind of thing.
It's a bit like Inventions, Rory. Remember that when you did the chain action bit, when you played that? It's not quite as formal as that, but it's the same sort of idea.
Yeah.
Actions can give you other actions, or at least additional or bonus actions. It's a bit like that.
But where this game I feel is really weird is your number of workers each round reduces.
Yeah.
So in the first round you have 4 actions, the second and third round you have 3 actions, then 2, then 1.
No,
So
just
the final round you have 1 action. That's it.
I don't like that.
And
no, nobody likes that. Like, what do you mean I've only got 1 action left? You only got 1 action left. What are you going to do with it?
There was a point when I realised it was like start of the 3rd round, and I went, I've got 3 actions left for the rest of the game. That's it. This is the start of the 3rd round. From a round point of view, we're halfway through the game. Yet I only have 3 actions left.
Yeah, it is quite forward weighted. Yeah, it's 4, 3, 3, and then 1. It's a big drop right at the end.
Yeah.
But I mean, it can take you a little while to get going, which is obviously why you get 4 actions to start with. But then, yeah, you'll suddenly find that your actions are getting eaten up, because by the time you've built a building, got some hooch, and sold it, that's the first act gone. And you've only got 7 actions left of your original 11. You're like, shit, how do I score points in this? But it is very clever, and it's so pretty. And driving your little truck around Manhattan with the delivering the hooch and stuff is always good as well. Yeah. And then you can attack the rum runners with the boats, which is also very thematic because they're bringing hooch in, and you can either buy the rum that's there, which is an easy way of producing it, but of course you'll take the hit on the cost, or you can just attack the boats, which is actually very, very hard to do, and I've never really figured out how to do it. One of the players, John, at the table, seemed to be almost at that point, but it's quite hard to do, but you'll get like an ongoing permanent bonus, so if you can get it done early somehow, you can probably do quite well out of the whole affair. But this is a strategy I have not worked out yet, so I need to poke the game a bit more. But all of these elements are it. I mean, it's one of these that you won't be able to do everything. It's it's got that wonderful heavy Euro bit where you'll only be able to focus on 2 or 3 out of the 4 or 5 things you can possibly do. And to me, I think it's one of his best. I really do. And it seems to be very popular at the moment. A lot of people have come back with positive praise for it. And I can see why. The only downside, I think, with this game is it's massive. It is a real table hog. It is huge.
Yeah.
Because the board's a big 6-paneler, and then you've got another board at the end with all the mobsters on it. Then you've got another board at the other end with the dockyard and the ships on it. And then you've got your player boards, which are bigger than A4. It's just a ridiculously sized game.
But weirdly, by the end of that game, that board is full of pieces.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
There's not a lot of space left on that board to actually do
very
stuff.
Busy.
Yeah, which means it doesn't feel like the space is wasted.
No, I think everything is there that needs to be there. And it works. And thankfully, the action spaces aren't actually too big either. They're clear enough. I do like the way that they're called capos, your workers, because they're all basically family members. And then when you do an action, you don't just do an action. You go and have a word with someone.
It's a really clever game, and I agree. I can see why people are saying this is the best Lacerda game.
Yeah.
It's you can definitely feel it. It's already jumping up the old BGG rankings.
Definitely up there. Really love it. I'm so glad I backed it. I mean, it's a no-brainer for me now. It's an insta-back for the Evil Griffin and Vital Lacerda superstar tag team. But this one, I really do think is one of his best. So that's Speakeasy from Eagle Griffin Games.
Maybe one day I'll play this. I didn't want to have an hour-long teach at Airecon. That was the thing that put me off.
That's fair enough.
That environment was not conducive to me paying attention to you talk for an hour.
I feel attacked.
To finish off our games beginning with the letter S, we should have picked games beginning with A for Airecon, boys. We've done this horribly wrong.
So next year we can only play games at Airecon that begin with the letter A. Okay.
And then the next 26 years of going to Airecon are sorted.
Work our way through the alphabet. Okay.
So us well into our 70s are going to be playing games at Airecon. Nice.
I hope so.
What? There's 4 Aircons a year, aren't there?
There are
there are
3 Aircons a year.
Is it 3? Okay. There we go. Problem solved, boys.
Doable. We decided, I think me and Rory made a pact. We're going to try and clear some games off our shelf of shame at Airecon. So I took with me Skara Brae, which I backed on Kickstarter and got the Kickstarter sometime last year. and decided we're going to play it. And I had to take it out of a shrink and punch it on Thursday evening prior to us going to Airecon. Skara Brae is from Gap Hill Games and designed by Shane Phillips. So famous for the kind of Cardinal Compass games, the West Kingdom games, the South Target games, North Sea. But this is not one of them. It's part of this kind of historical set of games he's currently doing, which he's doing alongside those.
So is this Ezra and Nehemiah and all that lot?
Yeah, and it's all the artwork's by his partner as well, which is the same with Ezra and Nehemiah.
Yeah.
So this is based on Skara Brae, which I believe is in the Hebrides in Scotland.
It is.
And what you're doing is you're like a Neolithic tribe, and you are just managing resources.
So it's set in present-day Highland Scotland.
With resources such as iron brew, buckfast,
Yep.
lawn sausage. Well,
And
this might
walks
work.
around in a Lacoste tracksuit, yeah. Sorry, people of Scotland.
This is basically a resource management game, and again, management-wise, this is quite simple. Action-wise, you're going to draft effectively from a set of cards. These cards are either visitors to your tribe, which are one of 4 different specialities, or they're going to be a roof for one of your huts, bizarrely, or a stone football and some steel boots to play football with. Now, weirdly, they give you extra bonuses. So a roof means you don't have to feed one of your workers at the end of the round, and the football gives you victory points and gives you the shale, which is a kind of universal resource which can be used for some other things. But what you're going to do is once you get one of these 4 types of people onto your board, you stack them. They're all based on the 4 different types. You get resources based on the one you've just picked up. Most of the cards will also have another bonus action on the bottom. Then it's a very simple worker placement game where you manipulate the resources you've got. You can use your workers to get those resources again. You can get them to cook them into food, which you'll need to do because you need to feed everyone. Or you can trade them for some extra points. You can turn it into furnishings for your little huts. But, and this is where this game gets interesting, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's something stupid like 16 resources in this game, and they're all represented by a different wooden meeple. And you have a little grid on your board. And when you put resources into this grid, this little barrier moves along. And where this barrier is at the end of the round, you get penalised by being given this useless resource called midden. And it's these little green rocks that effectively fill up your storage capacity. And if you have these in your capacity at the end of the game, you lose points. You also have, if your storage capacity goes too high, you've also got negative points there. So you're basically trying to get this midden out of your warehouse, out your stores as quickly as possible, while managing your stores so you don't get any negative points at the end of the game. And there's not much else to it. Every person gets a unique action, so there's a bit of asymmetry to it. Unlike Speakeasy, your number of workers increases each round, so you get more actions each round.
Like that.
But what you are trying to do is basically feed people, upgrade areas, and manage this resource so it doesn't get overwhelming and you lose loads of points.
Yeah.
And it's a really simple, clever game, which surprisingly takes quite a while because it's also quite a brain burner.
Yeah.
So much like Stupor Mundi, very easy to teach, very easy to understand what to do, but 2 rounds in, you're already going, do I want to take a rabbit? But if I cook the rabbit, I get a meat, a bone, and a fur. Bone's a bit useless. It's just clogging up my stores.
But I need the meat, yeah. I also want the
meat because otherwise I'm going to lose people.
The hide is quite useful, but I don't really want to do it next round. And it's just, I think it's a really clever game. Normally, you want loads of resources. In most of the games, you want resources because that means you can do more stuff. In this game, you just do not want them at all. You kind of need that, just in time methodology. I need this material to turn up and then immediately spend it in my next action so that I can clean my warehouse and drop it down again. It's brilliant.
I love the fact that you cook a cow and it takes up more space after you finish with all the bones and the furs and the meat than when it started. It's like, crap.
5 times more, in fact, because I
5
did it
times.
3 times during that game. It's filled up on bones and leather.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a clever game. It took me a little while to get my head around it again, but with all the interactions of the cards and the workers and the special abilities. But yeah, it kind of clicked, and it's very fluid, and it's very clever. And yeah, again, it's another tight but not punishing really game that you have to think about. But I think in my head, I want to play it again because it feels like it's possible. You know, sometimes you get games where you can't see the strategy no matter. Like when we all looked at Covenant. Was it Covenant?
And you're talking about how you're going to score that many points.
Yeah.
I think I can do better in this game next play.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a better way of doing it. I've obviously done badly. I think, and because of that, I think it's. I want to play it again because I think it is possible. Incidentally, in the Covenant, I did speak to other gamers who've been playing it at Airport. I said, "Have you guys got beyond 75 yet?" No, we were looking on Board Game Geek for that, and apparently there's lots of people in the same boat. So nobody knows how to get more than 75 points.
Yeah. Well, at least we're not alone there. That's quite nice.
Comfort. Misery loves company, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But no, Skara Brae, really clever game.
Yeah, definitely. Nice. I think once you know what you're doing as well, I think you could go quite quick as well.
Yeah, because it does have that simultaneous play on it, which obviously speeds things up. So as you say, once everyone's familiar with the rules, you could just spin through that really quickly.
Once I've taken my villager from that array of cards, there's nothing else stopping you from just carrying on. And that's it. That's the only way we're actually going to interact is what card are you going to take. As we talked about earlier with Stupor Mundi, this is also on Board Game Arena, and it is another really great implementation of it. The biggest problem with this on Board Game Arena, though, is that Steve won't take his turn soon enough.
Because I'm waiting for you to take your turn.
I know. But what I mean is, like, I'll take my turn, and I know exactly what I want to do next. But I've got to wait for Steve to finish driving home from work. It's like, go.
It's really good implementation. Actually, yeah, really good. So yeah, that's Skara Brae from Garphill Games. Well, thank you very much for listening, everyone. We've run out of time. We will be back soon with another episode. Until that time, please go onto our Discord server with links in the show notes. We've got loads of people, and we had great chat during Airecon, I do note. It was really good. People were organising some games via Discord, which is really good. Also, please give us a review on iTunes or Spotify or your other podcast platform of choice. I went on Spotify today and found out, I was very happy to find we have a rating of 4.8 on Spotify.
Out of...
Which I was very pleased with.
5.
Oh, that's good. Not out of 10.
You cynical bastard.
But you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Board Game Geek Guild 2726. But until next time, happy gaming.
Ta-ra.
Bye-bye.